Hello, and welcome to Songs for the Struggling Artist, the blogcast, which, by the way, you can call whatever you like. I call it a blogcast just because it's easier to say the blogcast than like blog and podcast. Welcome to the podcast. Podcast. Blogcast is just a little more efficient. But you, my lovely listeners, do not have to call it a blogcast. I have had several friends who have very gamely attempted to remember what I call this thing, and you don't have to, is all I'm saying. You can call it a blogcast if you want to, but podcast is just as good. So, welcome, in any case, to this podcast, audio blog. Maybe I'll just need a longer thing to say. That'd be good. So today's blog is from a month ago. It's looking like. I'm looking at the date on it now. And I was going to go ahead and leap forward into the next Elizabeth Warren-based blog. But I'm actually not prepared for that song. So I was totally ready to do it, to give it to you from a topical perspective, right? Like now is the moment, seize the day, talk about the things that people want to talk about right now kind of situation. But I am learning the song and I'm not quite there yet. So I'm giving you this one, which is not topical in any way and feels slightly silly in this moment. And that's actually really nice. So this one it's not so serious. It's not so serious. And it is called Beautiful People Wearing Glasses. We were watching a streaming show wherein one of the heroes wore glasses. He looked like a model, but they dressed him like a nerdy bad boy in dark framed glasses. We cracked up every time his glasses came off. Who's that hunk? Where did that hunk come from? There was a nerd here a minute ago. And then he'd put the glasses on and we'd say, there he is. He's back. But where did that hunk go all of a sudden? We could play this hunk nerd game all day. It never got old. The show did, though. We gave up in the middle of the second season. In film and TV, they do this all the time. They cast someone preternaturally beautiful and throw some glasses on them to make them seem smart. Occasionally, if the actor is gunning for an Oscar, the beautiful actor will also gain or lose some weight and have a makeup artist make them look normal or even a little ugly. But for the most part, our screens are full of extraordinary, attractive people pretending to be normal. I started to think about this after reading a Hollywood Reporter piece featuring Charlize Theron, talking about the box women had to be careful not to get stuck in at the start of their careers. It's the beautiful woman box, where you just play girlfriends and wives and try and stop your man from doing that dangerous bank heist or whatever. And I am very sympathetic to that box and how demoralizing the trap of it must be. But it made me think about how few people could even qualify to be in the box that they need to break free of. I mean, Charlize Theron is stunning and also incredibly talented, but it is her stunningness that opened the door to the box in the first place. She resisted the box from the beginning and took on roles where she did a lot besides standing there looking stunning. I admire her work and her choices. But I was thinking about how rare it is in America to see just normal-looking actors in leading roles. Take Monster, the film in which Theron plays a serial killer. For that film to be made, it needed someone like Theron to do it. It would have never happened with an unknown normal-looking woman. For the American cinema to recognize acting, it seems to require an unusually beautiful person looking less beautiful. It is the nerd glasses on the Vogue model. Is that a hunk or a nerd? Oh, it's a hunk acting like a nerd. Give that man an Oscar. And you know, film and TV are not my medium, very possibly because of this quality in most of it, but it also happens in theater, which is my medium. I recently heard about a group of young people auditioning for agents in order to get some feedback from the professionals. And apparently most of the discussion was about the appearance and sartorial choices of the young actors. This is absurd. Acting is one of the few jobs that exist in which someone else makes those choices for you. Not many jobs will design your costumes, hair, and makeup. This is one of them. Whether or not an actor wears heels or a skirt or glasses or whatever to an audition is of no consequence to the work. To assess those choices is to worry over the plate at a cake tasting contest. And yet it continues to happen, and actors are selected for work, often by gatekeepers and middlemen, based solely on whether or not they can afford an expensive haircut or a well-fitted suit. It also selects for the surprisingly beautiful, just like film, despite the fact that folks beyond the first few rows will not really see the details of their faces. The people who can get into that beautiful person box are few. And it means the exciting variety of humanity is rarely seen on screen or on stage. It's a real shame. I wouldn't mind beautiful people playing ugly people if ugly people also got a chance to play not just ugly people, but beautiful people too. It'd be great if anyone could play anyone, but we are so far away from that reality. I think of Scarlett Johansson saying she should be able to play anyone after she drew criticism for taking on non-white characters and a trans man. I mean, in another world, sure, play anything. In a world where a trans man has as many opportunities to perform as a preternaturally beautiful white woman, she could play anything she wanted. But we really don't live in that world. I've got no beef with preternaturally beautiful people. Preternaturally beautiful people are people too and deserve to be as free from the box as anyone. But we need to see more than beautiful people all the time. Let a nerd in a show be an actual nerd for a change, not a hunk wearing glasses. Let the frumpy librarian be a frumpy person, not just Charlize Theron wearing glasses with her hair up in a tight bun. It's a good thing I find the hunk nerd game entertaining because I fear I will continue to have a lot of occasions to play it, unless we see a real radical change. Well, I had to teach myself how to say Charlize Theron's name for this blog. I feel like I know I hear her name, but I was like, I feel like I hear it 17 different ways, so I needed to check. And the th in her name is not a th, it's a t. So you learn something every single day, don't ya? I'm in a mood, can you tell? So I'm not sure when I'm going to put this one out because I created a question for myself. I put out the previous blog, episode 190. I put out on a few days ago, whatever day that was. On a few days ago is when I put it out. And today, when I'm recording this, is when I usually put things out. So I'm not sure whether to put this out or to hold on to it. Anyway, these are complicated questions. So, you'll know the answer. You'll know what I settled on by when you see this in your podcast feed. But I, as I am talking to you, actually have no idea what I'm going to do. So if this is in a funny place and you missed the previous episode because of its weird placement, check it out. It's got an Emily Rainbow Davis original at the end of that one. This one will not. This one, oh my goodness, you guys. So I learned this song, which is, listen, I don't think it's a great song, but it's called Beautiful People. I'd never heard it before in my life. I swear to you, I had never heard this song. I really don't think I'd ever heard it before. And then, I was looking up songs about beautiful people, etc. And I discovered it and I listened to it and I was like, I don't know about this song. But there's a great line in it, like a really great lyric, which is, what is it? I need some help getting out of this conversation. Oh, I could use some help getting out of this conversation. And I really appreciate that line, because we have all had some experience at a party where we would like some help getting out of a conversation. And I appreciate it in a silly pop song, which this is. So I have come to appreciate this song a little bit more. And I hear it everywhere now. I think it's the kind of song that even though I actually, when I would have sworn to you I'd never heard it before, I probably had, I just didn't clock it in any way because as it's, recorded, it's just kind of bland, It's just sounds like generic contemporary this moment pop. And so I did not register. And now I hear it all the time. There's a bubble tea shop that I go to, and it almost every time I go in there, it's playing, which really makes me laugh, every time. I was at home trying to learn the song. I went to the bubble tea shop. I was like, I literally just came away from learning the song, and here it is on the stereo. I don't think it's called a stereo anymore. Anyway, so I'm going to play you Beautiful People. I'm going to play for you, beautiful people, a song called Beautiful People. And I hope you enjoy it. It is on ukulele. I was going to play it on guitar, but my wrist is still a little bit funny. And playing ukulele is actually much easier than guitar with a little... My wrist is fine. It's just when I play guitar, I have to stretch my hand in exactly the way that my wrist is not so keen on at the moment. So... ukulele it is. Yeah. So, what else to tell you? If you like the podcast, tell somebody. Rate, review, subscribe, all the things that you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to. You do them if you like. Thank you. Also, if you would like to support the podcast, there's patreon.com/Emily R. Davis. There's Ko-fi. There's PayPal. Oh, you know what? I have to put this podcast out. You're going to know this already, but it's news to me. Because if you're in New York City, you can come to a podcast festival in Brooklyn. I just found out 2 days ago that the podcast got accepted to this festival called Listen Up Brooklyn. And it's free at the Brooklyn Public Library, Saturday night, March 14th. You listen to the podcast, so you don't need to come to listen to the podcast. There's just little 2-minute clips of, I think, 20 different podcasts that got chosen through this committee. And there's, I think, some seminars and talks about podcasting and stuff. So it could be fun. It could be lame. I don't know. But I would love to see you. So come if you would like to. I will be there. So that's that. That's why I need to put this thing out. But I think a lot of you are not in New York. So anyway... That's a thing. Oh, the other thing is ratemypodcast.com/strugglingartist. You can rate through that. All of those links are in the show notes. And thank you for listening. So, without further ado, I would like to present to you a song. Sorry, I have a response to this song, obviously. I'm also stalling a little bit because I'm suddenly not 100% sure who this song is by. It's Ed Sheeran, I am pretty sure, but I just want to double check. Yes, it is Ed Sheeran featuring Khalid. It does not feature Khalid today, though, nor Ed Sheeran. Today features me and my ukulele, Little Dorrit. So here is Beautiful People. We are, we are, we are. LA on a Saturday night in summer, sundown and they all come out. Lamborghinis and the rented Hummers. The party's on, so they're headed downtown. Everybody's looking for the come up, and they want to know what you're about. Me in the middle with the one I'm loving. We're just trying to figure everything out. We don't fit in well, 'cause we are just ourselves. I could use some help getting out of this conversation. Yeah, you look stunning, dear. Don't ask that question here. This is my only fear, that we become beautiful people. Drop top designer clothes, front row at fashion shows. What'd you do and who'd you know? Inside the world of beautiful people, champagne and rolled up notes, prenups and broken homes, surrounded but still alone. Let's leave the party, 'cause that's not who we are. We are not beautiful. Yeah, that's not who we are. We are not beautiful. LA. Drove for hours last night and we made it nowhere. I see stars in your eyes and we're halfway there. Not fazed by all them lights and flashing cameras. With my arms around you, there's no need to care. We don't fit in well, 'cause we are just ourselves. I could use some help getting out of this conversation. Yeah, you look stunning, dear. Don't ask that question here. This is my only fear, that we become beautiful people. Drop top designer clothes, front row at fashion shows. What'd you do and who'd you know? Inside the world of beautiful people, champagne and rolled up notes, prenups and broken homes, surrounded but still alone. Let's leave the party. That's not